Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the top stories.
Pace disarmante, umile e perseverante, proviene da Dio. Dio.
The new pope has been revealed as Chicago-born Robert Prevost, the first American pontiff in history.
And investigations are getting finalized. Final and the last details.
One of the 3 police constables who died when their vehicle plunged into the Henops River, Boipelo Senoge, has been laid to rest in Bloemfontein.
And we started combing the scene, and we did come across certain bodies.
Police are still combing the crime scene at Rustenburg near Hammanskraal in Gauteng, where 2 human remains were discovered today. And in sports, Orlando Pirates are on the brink of making history this weekend as they face off against Kaizer Chiefs in the Nedbank Cup final. Good evening and a warm welcome to Prime News on 3. I am Becky Mutumomolete and I'm pleased to be back with you this evening, bringing you the latest on what is shaping our world. Let's take a look at our top stories. The new pope has been revealed as Chicago-born Robert Prevost, the first American pontiff in history. The 69-year-old Prevost has chosen the papal name Leo XIV. He was elected in the 4th round of voting in the conclave in the Sistine Chapel, which required 2/3 or 89 of 133 cardinal electors to choose a successor to Pope Francis, who passed away last month. It was Pope Francis who appointed Prevost as a cardinal in 2023. The untimely death of Constable Boipelo Senoge has robbed the South African Police Service of immense talent. That's according to National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola, who was speaking at the funeral service of the late police constable in Bloemfontein. Senoge was one of the 3 constables whose bodies were recovered from the Henops River in Centurion last week.
Constable Senoge was lauded for her bubbly personality. Her charm and dedication to her family and community will be remembered. Friends and family spoke fondly of her during her funeral service, highlighting her good moral values and commitment as a public servant.
Your presence in my life was a gift, and though you're no longer with me physically, your memory and legacy still lives on in my heart. I'm trying to come to the terms with the fact that you're gone, but I take comfort in the memories we shared.
Police Minister Senzo Mchunu emphasized that the death of the 3 constables was due to a tragic accident. He said they had each made the return trip to Limpopo before, but unfortunately this time the trip was cut short.
And investigations are getting finalized. Final and the last details, especially on the vehicle that was finally found, and a comprehensive report would follow.
The National Police Commissioner lamented the loss of the 3 constables. He commended Senoge for her dedication in serving the country through the SABC.
There might be some articles that are still outstanding because we have seen that it looks like Henops River is a killer river. Our divers continuously, they keep looking in that river.
She had a big personality and her presence could be felt wherever. That's how her colleagues and friends described Boipelo.
The 24-year-old Senoge had been stationed at the Park Road Police Station in Bloemfontein since July 2024. She leaves behind her parents and siblings. Meanwhile, her colleague Constable Cebekulu Linda's funeral will take place on Friday at the St. Rose Catholic Church in Botjhabela, Bloemfontein from 8 a.m. Kamogelo Siekwi, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
Police are still combing the crime scene at Rustenburg near Hammanskraal in Gauteng, where 2 human remains were discovered today. Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibia says DNA tests will be conducted to ascertain if they belong to missing journalist Aseri Ndlovu and his partner Zodwa Mdluli. The couple was last seen on the 18th of February in Mamelodi West.
That the police have been hard at work due to the meticulous work done by our excellent detectives. They managed to bring us here where, as they were combing the scene or conducting their own investigation, some of the people that are involved, they brought us here to this area, and we started combing the scene, and we did come across certain bodies, though bones, but with some clothing, and we still yet to confirm through DNA whether these are the people that we're looking for, and also to take the DNA from the family so that we can compare. But at this present moment, we are not able to say with absolute certainty that these bodies are those of the people we are looking for, though we were brought here to this place by one of the suspects.
The two people that we are looking for that perhaps we suspect or, might be them, those remains that the police have found. They disappeared in February, 18th of February to be exact. Since then, there's been, a lot of pleas from the family, the media, the public to find them. And what has the police been busy with since then? Obviously, one man was arrested, and that ultimately opened the way for the rest.
The matter was all along under investigation by local police, especially led by the province. But up until the matter was brought to the table of the National Commissioner, it is then that we started really putting more resources together to beef up the team. But the team locally, they've done a great job. They've been doing well, they've been investigating. Most of the work was done already, but having beefed up the team, then that's how we got to be able to crack this case so quickly, because now we had more capacity and more resources brought together.
Welcome back. Conflicting versions surrounding the circumstances behind Judge's Secretary Andiswa Mengo's initial sexual harassment complaint against Eastern Cape Judge President Selbie Mbenenge has placed the credibility of both versions in the spotlight. This, as Mengo's previous testimony that she did not keep a copy of her initial complaint clashed with a former Judicial Service Commission official's insistence that she did.
The credibility of Andiswa Mengo as a witness is under the lens of scrutiny, insofar as her testimony regarding the initial complaint she filed against top judge of the Eastern Cape Division, Selbie Mbenenge. This is the former JSC official who assisted Mengo with the initial complaint. Kutlwano Muretlwe testified that she did have a copy.
I didn't give her the copy of the complaint because she finalized the complaint when she typed the previous night. So she ought to have saved it on her laptop.
This evidence runs contrary to Mengo's testimony that when she was informed that her initial complaint was quote-unquote misplaced, she had to write a new complaint in the form of an affidavit. Mengo's counsel, Advocate Nazreen Rajab Badlinda SC, in response to this glaring contradiction, cast doubts on Muretle's version, describing it as quote-unquote concerning.
I will argue that your version should not be accepted, particularly as it relates to Ms. Mengo.
The misconduct probe continued with testimony from judges' secretaries from the Eastern Cape who testified on what they knew about the saga. One of which, Ntoboxolo Jobela, testified that Mengo forwarded pictures allegedly sent by the top judge.
She said there's an older man or father that is abusing me.
Wathi undithumelela ii-pictures and into endiyicapukelayo yintoba ndilingana nabantwana bakhe.
She then said he is sending me pictures, and what I hate is the fact that I am in the same age group as his children.
The tribunal continues with the cross-examination of Jobela. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The ANC Peter Mokaba region in Limpopo says it is going ahead with its regional conference this weekend. This despite ongoing disputes and protests by unhappy party members. The party says that 50 branches out of 103 have been approved for registration.
The ANC in the Peter Mokaba region has escalated 49 disputes to the party's Provincial Dispute Resolution Committee ahead of the regional conference. The regional conference is scheduled to take place from the 9th through to the 11th of May. Some delegates from the Polokwane, Sefako Magatu, Blouberg and Mulemule sub-regions are expected to partake in the conference to elect in the new leadership.
The report that we got from the Provincial Dispute Resolution Committee outlines that there are 39 disputes. Now, we have later learned that during the pre-registration, day one of the pre-registration, another 10 came forth, but we have referred that to the Provincial Secretary's office.
On Wednesday, ANC members marched to the party's provincial headquarters to request for an intervention, alleging irregularities and manipulation of delegates.
Now we have come here to seek assistance from the provincial office to say these people cannot be players and referees at the same time because they've got vested interest in this conference.
We are complaining about paid bogus delegates which are imposed on us. They are not on the ground with us.
The ANC says disputes have been escalated to the appropriate structures.
Explain the process to which aggrieved members can find recourse. We first dispute to the branch, you appeal to the province. If you are not satisfied with the verdict from the PDRC, then you appeal to the National Dispute Resolution Committee.
Karabo Khafani, SABC News, Polokwane.
Thank you for staying with us. The Eastern Cape MEC of Education, Fundile Gade, has blamed school-based alcohol sales for increased substance abuse and delinquency among students, highlighting a need for stricter regulations. The MEC was briefing the media in East London on the quarterly performance of the department since the beginning of the year.
Faced backlash for forcing schools to halt the sale of alcohol at schools and cancelling liquor trading licenses. Independent schools have argued that the sale of alcohol at schools' events and private functions is a fundraising method. But the department argues that the Eastern Cape Liquor Act 10 of 2003 provides that schools must be 500 meters away from alcohol trading facilities and that allowing alcohol sales on school premises would be double standards in favor of some schools.
If you look very closely to some of the major problems we have currently in the schooling system in the country, it comes from the either gender-based violence and femicide, but there will always be drugs involved and also alcohol involved. Whether you talk the issue of the sexual harassment of learners by teachers, there will always be drugs and alcohol involved. We then said no. Let's then revoke that particular clause so that we can be able to stabilize the lives of these particular kids.
The department says it will tighten the regulations of independent and private schools in order to ensure the safety of all learners.
As a department, we're looking in terms of how can we close and rewrite that policy to make sure we don't have the situation that has taken place in Matatiao.
The department says it has begun auditing independent schools to ensure that they comply with education policies and legislation. Sidima Mfegu, SABC News, East London.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has arrived in Moscow ahead of the celebrations marking the 80th anniversary of victory in the Great Patriotic War. Beijing and Moscow have vowed to strengthen bilateral ties, and the two leaders have also met where they discussed the development of the comprehensive strategic partnership, as well as current matters on the international and regional agenda.
A meeting between the two key allies, Russia and China. President Xi has joined almost 20 leaders when Moscow is proposed to mark the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War.
We are willing to safeguard the global multilateral trading system and the stability and smoothness of industrial and supply chains, and make greater contributions to promoting the development and revitalization of the two countries and safeguarding international fairness and justice.
Putin has also welcomed the transfer of Chinese technology to Russia, adding that Moscow has become the largest importer of Chinese cars. Today we will sign an updated intergovernmental agreement on the encouragement and mutual protection of investments, which I am sure will have a positive impact on the shaping of a more favorable business environment and will give a serious impulse to the development of our economic cooperation. She says they value their partnership with Russia, especially as the world is facing geopolitical tension.
China is a very important partner for Russia. We are doing jointly lots of investments in lots of sectors, including infrastructure and technology. And jointly, for example, we invested in the first railway bridge between Russia and China.
A number of world leaders are expected to attend, including Burkina Faso's leader Ibrahim Traore, who has faced constant attempts on his life. But the day is also used to honor the sacrifices of a previous generation. Kailihle Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And now for your sports update. Orlando Pirates players say they are confident of their chances to lift the silverware on Saturday in the much-anticipated Nedbank Cup final to make it to 3 consecutive wins in this competition. The Buccaneers held a media open day at Durban North College, where they were put through their paces under the watch of their coaching staff.
The Moses Mabhida Stadium has been a regular winning pitch for the Soweto Giants. Durban-born player Talente Mbata says they are focused on the game, despite the ticketing chaos which made the headlines.
We must come in numbers, those supporters, even if they're not in the stadium, as it's not our duty or Orlando Pirates that sells tickets, but I believe that it's something that should continue supporting the team, continue having the spirits and continue have the belief that we have to win.
For us, the main focus is the game on Saturday, trying to execute the plans, trying to get the preparations well.
The outgoing head coach says they are well prepared.
It's an honor to be one more time in a final representing Orlando Pirates. Is what we were looking for since day one, since we started here together. We were lucky enough and we worked hard enough to find ourselves regularly almost in each and every final since we started. It's something to celebrate one more time.
Meanwhile, fans expressed their frustrations over the ticket sales mishap after a service provider's system crashed. The available 41,000 tickets were snapped up in 90 minutes, with 10,000 tickets overissued.
I'm going to watch the game in the public viewing areas, but I am disappointed by the ticket chaos.
Going to the Mia shopping, and there was a long queue. It was kind of like people are going to vote the way there were so many.
The police and authorities have implored fans not to come to the stadium if they don't have tickets. Kick-off at the Moses Mabhida Stadium is at 3:30 in the afternoon. Mlondi Khatebe, SABC News, Durban.
Nature's canvas is ever-changing. Let's take a look at what's stirring up in the atmosphere. Up next is your weather update.
A very good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details. Clear skies expected through the Northern Cape and Western Cape this evening. Clear conditions as well through the central and northeastern parts of the country, but some partly cloudy skies in the forecast for the east coast of South Africa. Isolated showers possible in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gqeberha, mainly along the coastline. Ahead towards Friday, and it'll be sunny and warm throughout the day in towards the Free State and northwards in towards the northeastern parts of South Africa. Sunny and high 20s expected for the east coast of the country as well. Whilst ahead of a cold front, we see an increase in wind speeds in and around the Cape Peninsula, as well as partly cloudy skies and fog patches in your forecast. Ahead towards some alerts for tomorrow rather. We've got hot, dry, windy conditions ahead of a cold front in towards the Northern Cape that brings with it a chance of fault fires. Be on the lookout for that, as well as for the potential of damaging winds around the Cape Peninsula. Cape Town dropping down to 11 degrees overnight. East London down to 16. Durban 20, whilst Johannesburg drops to 11 and warms up tomorrow to a maximum of 22 degrees with sunshine in the afternoon. Polokwane up to 26, high 20s for the east coast of the country, becoming low 30s through the interior of the Eastern Cape. Mthatha up to 31, whilst Makanda warms up to about 31 degrees. The coastline up to about 29 for both Gqeberha and East London. Cape Town up to 21 degrees tomorrow, with that cold front expected to make landfall, and partly cloudy skies ahead of it, whilst it's up to about 28 degrees in Uppington tomorrow. That's it from me. Enjoy your evening.
That is all we have time for this evening. Thank you for choosing Prime News on 3. Until next time, from myself and the team, stay ahead of the curve. Good night.